What is up, everybody? Welcome back to Drums and Drams. My name's Cameron, and this is a mini live stream blind tasting. So this is what we do sometimes on the channel, every couple of weeks. Obviously, we've just gone through kind of a little bit of a dead patch on the channel, and now we're back in action. Things got a little busy for me. So you're going to see more of these blind flights popping up, over the next weeks, months, over the course of the year. And this is going to be a pretty cool one. I've gotten a lot of questions recently about many of these products. Obviously, Heaven Hill 17 is kind of old news. It's a few years old at this point, but it's still a product that so many people love that have had the opportunity to try it. And recently, we've seen the release of this William Heaven Hill 17 year, which is a bottle that I reviewed yesterday on the channel, or at least I put the video out yesterday. And finally, the Heaven Hill 18 year, which is on this side. Heaven Hill 18, has kind of gotten itself a reputation of not quite living up to what the 17 year was. But I've had a lot of folks ask me, look, how does Heaven Hill 18 compare to 17? How does William Heaven Hill 17 compare to Heaven Hill 18? And all combinations that you can imagine. And so I thought this would be a nice opportunity to go through, do a blind tasting. It's obviously single blind. It's not double blind, excuse me. But I've got all the cups poured out. They are exactly even on their fill levels. Everything has already been marked on the bottom, double stickered, written in pencil, and I'm going to mix them up right in front of your face. You can see right now where they are in the lineups. These do correspond from the glasses to the bottles. I'm going to mix them up as I continue talking to all of you. I've got my palette, set up here. First pour of the night with this Eagle Rare 10 store pick, which is how I always start off my tastings, whether it's a live stream or anything else. Just a great way to center my palette. And then we're going to get into this. I'm going to give you notes on each pour as we go through glass A, B, and C. Then I'm going to rank them in order, of my favorite to least favorite. Then we'll do the reveal at the end and see if there are any surprises in this. And in particular, I'm looking forward to finding out how the Heaven Hill 18 year and the William Heaven Hill 17 year, which are both kind of lighter profiles for highly aged Heaven Hill products. I'm very curious to see how those two stack up. If I have to take a guess here at the beginning, I would imagine that Heaven Hill 17 is going to win this, but you never know. Things can change and be kind of crazy when you do a blind flight like this. So if you are watching this live, thank you for being here. Hit that like button. This is not an official long-form live stream. We're going to go for about 30 minutes tops, and then I'm going to jump off here and spend some time with the wife. But I'm looking forward to this. So here we go. I'm going to get a quick sip of this Eagle Rare 10. All right. Thank you, Mr. Will Molnar, for, again, donating this bottle. It starts off every stream now. And now it's time to do the old mix them up here with these glasses. We can kind of rearrange the table just a bit, put these bottles off to the side, get them out of the way, and then we're going to get down to business. And look, got to be honest with you, not a bad way to spend a Wednesday night. 30 minutes on a Wednesday night sipping these 3 bottles. There are worse ways to spend a little bit of time. I will interact with the chat as I get going here. Sometimes I wait till the end to do that. That's not what we're going to be doing from this point forward. I think it's actually better to interact just a little bit. It's not as much as a normal live stream would be, but as much as I possibly can as we get in here. So if I were a savant, maybe I could have kept track of which glass is which, but I have absolutely no idea where they line up now. And here's what I'm going to do so that I don't get, kind of messed up about this. I'm going to sticker each glass A, B, and C just for my own purposes as they appear in this lineup. That way I don't get mixed up once we do the final reveal and the final ordering. So there we go. We'll get rid of these sticker sheets. And we're going to get on to this blind tasting. Okay, so we're going to start with glass A. And let's see what we get on the nose of glass A. Let me actually just quickly coat the glasses. I promise I'm not looking at the bottom. You can't see through the glass to see which one is which. They are now effectively coated, and here we go. Jay says, I know exactly what is what. Well, Jay, good. You must watch all your videos in, extra slow speed. All right, here we go. So glass A. Right off the bat, I'm getting kind of like actually a pretty big dose of ethanol on the front of this. There's kind of like this nougat note in here. It's kind of like this milk chocolate thing. And it's a very nice balance, actually, on Glass A between these. Again, I'm going to go nougat, milk chocolate notes, and just a nice, rich cherry note as well. It's interesting, like they're almost completely cohesive. It's kind of hard to tell them apart. They're kind of almost presented as one note. You could go chocolate covered cherries, whatever you want to say. It's really, really a cohesive note there. Scott says, my local store just discounted the Heaven Hill 18 by 100, so now it's $2.99. Yeah. The collector in me says pick it up at retail. We'll find out tonight. I have a hard time with those price points because the profiles are lighter from the Heaven Hill 18 and the William Heaven Hill 17. It just feels like because they're a little lighter profile, they're not in that category of Heaven Hill products that necessarily wow me. But again, this is going to be kind of a tell-all for me this evening. All right. Yeah, and there's just kind of a little bit of this kind of sour oak on this Glass A. It does feel like it's on the lighter side. But I'm not sure. It's interesting. Let's go on to Glass B. We're going to nose these first. I'll give you just some quick notes on the nose. Okay, Glass B feels very soft on the nose. Interesting. Yeah, between A and B, A is definitely jumping out more. And A is starting to actually smell a lot better. Glass B. Yeah, this is so soft and so relaxed. I'm not accustomed to this kind of a profile. Again, from all of these are around 120 proof. The 18-year and the William Heaven Hill, both 120 even. The Heaven Hill 17 is 118.2 or 4. 118.2. So this smells very, very sweet. Extremely bright, sweet vanilla icing. A little bit of like a carrot cake thing going on here. But I can't believe how soft and gentle Glass B is. All right, let's go on to Glass C now. Oh, wow. This one is funky, funky oak and leather. I mean dark. Super, super dark. Kind of like a molasses thing. And just so many dark fruits in Glass C. So on the nose, this is a tough one. Glass A, to me, feels lighter, sweet, a little bit nuttier, actually, than all the others, I would say, on Glass A. Yeah, I'm going to stand by that. I think it's a little bit nuttier for A, but it's rough around the edges. It's got this kind of youthful quality to the front of the nose, I guess, if you want to call it like that. Chris says, when's the Evan Williams? I'm trying to find one, man. I actually, the bottle that I snagged, if you saw me snag one on secondary, was not for me. It was actually for a friend. So I still need to get my hands on a 2024. So if you have any ideas of where to find them, I just haven't seen any more pop up on secondary, or I would be snagging that for a review. And I love my 2019 version of Evan Williams 23. I hope the 24s are as good, if not better. So, you know what? Even with the fact that Glass B is a little more relaxed, it almost smells like it's 105-ish proof. I would say that on the nose, Glass B is my second favorite. Glass C is my first favorite. And on the nose, Glass A, even with the more intense punch of flavor on the nose, it's just got this extra nuttiness, this extra youthful ethanol that kind of puts this thing in last place for me. So the order that we had a second ago is now flipped in terms of my preferences. I'm going to go ahead and drink them. I'll drink them ABC, which is 3, 2, 1 for my nosing preferences. So that's where we're going to start with Glass A, the one that's a little bit more of that youthful pop. All right, here we go, guys. Cheers. A is good. It's actually a little bit astringent, a little bit dry for me. I mean, the whole way through. It's not just the finish. Kind of the entire palate for me feels just a bit dry. I love the finish on here. Yeah, I love the finish on this glass. in particular because of the leather notes. I'm a sucker for leather in whiskey. Leather usually coincides with a lot of like semi-sour, semi-funky oak, and that's certainly here as well. Michael says you could toss in ECBPC 923, see how it stacks up. We not tonight, but point taken on that for sure. I've had other people say that as well. That profile just stands out. Like in this blind, I could tell you which ones. I think I know which one of these is which anyways right now, but I'm not here to hazard those guesses. But the C923 would stand out like a sore thumb, and it's just a different profile than all of these. All right, yeah, Glass A. Glass A actually has some effervescence to it. Interesting effervescence, a little bit of like this almond paste note on Glass A as well. Very creamy, but the balance is a bit strange for me on A. Again, it's just that youthful pop and that drying quality. So on to Glass B now. This is the really soft one on the nose. I can't believe how soft this is. And after drinking A and going to the nose on B, it feels like there's almost nothing in this glass. But this one is coming off with a lot more of like a dark fruit note than Glass A had. There are a ton of similarities between the two. I would say B is actually a little bit toastier. Roastier. I'm not sure, exactly how to characterize it. But smells very, very good, but light. Here we go. Cheers. Drinks light. Yeah, it's like it has the opposite problem of Glass A. Glass A hits with that youthful pizzazz kind of thing. And I'm like, I don't really like the front of the palate. But then as it goes, even though it's dry, I know I've already complained about that. But as it goes, it gets better. Like through the palate, into the finish, A improves. B, it enters the palate flat, right? Say it with, I know, Toshi, I'm avoiding the word. Here, I'll put it on the screen. I'm avoiding this word, not for any other reason than I just think it's funny. It's so tough for me to choose between preferences on A and B because they just simply suffer the opposite problems, I'm going to go back one more time to A. And then obviously I have to take a sip of C. All right, I think I know where I fall on those. I think it's one of those things where we drink whiskey, right? We don't just smell whiskey. I am a sucker for a good nose on a bourbon or whiskey of any kind. I could live in the nose all day because you get less drunk that way, right? But at the end of the day, we're here to sip whiskey. And A, while it does have a little bit of this drying aspect to it, it does have this a little, youthful thing that a 17 or 18-year-old product should absolutely, in my mind, not have on the front end. I still think that the development on the palate of A, even though I like the softness of B as kind of a just totally different take on an approximately 120 proof product at 17 to 18 years old. It's an interesting take on those stats, but is it enough to, actually choose this over Glass A? I just don't think it is. So A moves in front of B, but now let's see finally where this Glass C stacks up in the mix. I like this the most on the nose. It was just the darkest profile of them all. Yeah. I mean, this thing smells like a Dusty. Not all the way, but you know what it actually reminds me of? It reminds me of some Willet Purple Tops that I've had, and that would make sense because the rumor is that a lot of those Purple Tops, let's say between 12 to 18 years, a lot of those are sourced Heaven Hill, and it would make sense. This has the kind of just intense molasses, ridiculously like like dark, almost sherried fruit notes, toastiness, and that intense baking spice and oak combination. I mean, on the nose, far and away, this is the best, but the palate could change this up. Here we go. No, that's it. That would be my favorite, right? So, man, you start to get into caramelized orange on the palate of this. So many great fruit notes going with the leather notes, those dark sherried fruits. It's just so much oak too. This is ridiculous whiskey, whatever this one is. Oh my God. So I have my order. We'll talk about it. We'll kind of debrief at the end, but I'm going to go ahead and do the reveal. Let me hazard my guesses here before we go. I think the winner is Heaven Hill 17. I think the middle pour is William Heaven Hill 17. And I think Heaven Hill 18 came in last, but this is all conjecture. Let's see what the last place finisher is. The soft pour, soft on the nose, soft on the palate, but definitely suffered from that softness on the palate, even though the aromas and the flavors were good on the lighter side. Let's see what it is. And there you go. This is Heaven Hill 18 coming in last place. It's no surprise to me, really. When I cracked my Heaven Hill 18 bottle, I was just... I posted it on the Patreon. I was purely disappointed. I couldn't believe how strange the profile was. And look, at this point, after drinking William Heaven Hill 17 and some other products, I've come to accept and come to know that there are these like lighter end of the spectrum Heaven Hill highly aged bourbons. They exist. I had never really tasted a lot of them up to that point. But Heaven Hill 18 was one of my first experiences with a product with that profile. Then the fact that it drank under, which it did today too, and so soft and subtle. You know, Heaven Hill just didn't set themselves up well by releasing the Heaven Hill 17 year and then moving to this 18 year, a couple years later. The expectation was in our mind for what we wanted. The fact they threw a corn whiskey in there for the second release, I think a lot of people just went, well, okay, whatever, that's a one-off. But we didn't totally judge the series as a whole by it because the series was so new. Now we've got 3 releases, and there's no discernible pattern with what we're going to be getting. They've been all over the place, which as a consumer, that makes me hesitate moving forward because the 17 was so great and the 18 is so lackluster. All right, so in second place now, I'm going to guess that this is William Heaven Hill 17, and it is, yeah. So for even the drying aspect on the palate, the youthful ethanol pop at the front, it just drinks better than Heaven Hill 18. And, I reviewed this yesterday, kind of the same thing I would say to you guys today about it. It's good whiskey. I said yesterday there's nothing wrong with it. In a large sense, there's nothing wrong with it. In this super micro-analytical sense, a little bit drying, a little bit youthful on the front. But at the end of the day, a really solid whiskey. Yeah, and I think for folks who are on the secondary market, I know it's taboo to talk about that. The price difference from Heaven Hill 18, which is consistently dropping, and I think it's going to continue dropping as more people, taste this and realize it's just unfortunately not worth insane prices. Even at retail, it's a tough one. It's good whiskey, but William Heaven Hill 17 is around $500. Heaven Hill 18 is around $800. The choice is easy in my mind. I'd be buying a William Heaven Hill 17 and passing on the 18. And that means top of the food chain, which I would have predicted. I did predict at the beginning of the stream. Heaven Hill 17. It's a ridiculous bottle of whiskey. What else do you say about it? It's so good. It's just so good. There's actually kind of like this old antique note to it, antique furniture. Which again reminds me a little bit of those dusty whiskeys. So this was an interesting comparison. It ended up going kind of the way I thought it would go, and this is just my palate, my experience. I'm somebody that likes those darker Heaven Hill profiles. In fact, like Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, everyone's, been asking about C923 in this blind as well. I think a lot of people out there, because of the proof and the intensity of the profile and the darker flavor notes, would prefer some Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs to this William Heaven Hill 17 and to Heaven Hill 18. I actually think a lot of people, if offered these in a blind, would most likely pick the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, as long as it's not a terrible batch like A124. You throw a C923 in there with the right laser code, or like a pre-2021 batch, 2020 and earlier, I think a lot of folks are going to pick those. So I don't know. I don't know about this lighter profile from Heaven Hill. I'm not a big fan of that in these ultra premium products. Now, somebody did mention in the chat, let me see exactly who it was. It was Javier. It says, speaking on the Heaven Hill 18 drinking light, master distiller Connor O'Driscoll mentioned that he drank the wrong proof sample from his team at around 135 and said it drank so easy. Yeah, then they release a lighter 120 proof. I heard that, I heard some stuff that this was a blend, the 18-year, that came out. Maybe it was just some of the barrels. Maybe it was all the barrels. I don't know. But some things were like 150 plus proof. Whether that was the comprehensive blend or just a few barrels, I don't know. Why not leave it at barrel strength? Leave it at barrel strength. Come on. The 17 is barrel proof. Leave these products at barrel proof. Stop proofing them down. I know you want to make more money. You want more bottles. Don't do it, because this is what happens. Maybe it wouldn't be better. Maybe the 18 wouldn't be better at cast strength. I don't know. I have to imagine it would be. It's such a soft profile. The proof can only help it in that case. At least that's my thought. Gosh. All right. Wayne says mix the two 17-year pours. Yeah. Oh, the two 17-year pours. That's tough. I don't have a lot of the the Heaven Hill 17 left. I do have a backup, but I don't want to crack that one soon. So I'm not going to mix them tonight. I would mix the 17-year William Heaven Hill and the Heaven Hill 18, but either way, guys, thank you for being here. Thanks for checking this out. Just a quick little thing, update, whatever. It's Wednesday night as we're doing this. If you're watching the replay, of course, it's maybe not Wednesday night. Tomorrow, Thursday, live stream, regular old live stream, long form. And tomorrow, before that live stream, I'm going to be dropping an Orphan Barrel Indigo's Hour review. It is this bottle right here. My patrons already know what I have to say. But that review is dropping tomorrow, 6 p.m., scheduled, ready to go out already. Everything's done, thumbnail, all that jazz. And then we'll be live either 8 or 9 p.m. tomorrow, probably 8 p.m., but, sometimes it gets pushed back a little bit. So I hope to see you guys then. We will have a Scotch Sunday this week. Not sure what the bottle's going to be. Maybe Macallan 18, old versus new, from the 90s versus now. We'll see what happens. But that's going to do it, guys. Let me know what you think about this blind flight if you've had the chance to try these as well in the comment section. Hit that like button on your way out and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and you want to see more. Check out the Patreon, $5, $10, $25, or $50 a month. We're doing a lot of barrel picks these days. We've got one dropping in the next 2 weeks. And then every month after that, through the summer, it seems like we're dropping barrel picks. So lots to come there. That's it. Cheers, guys. I'm going to wrap up with a sip of this Heaven Hill 17. Still the champion. William Heaven Hill 17, second place. Heaven Hill 18, dead last. That's going to do it. Cheers, guys. I'll see you next time here on Drums and Drams.